Right. Okay, so there are virtual law firms. There are law firms that started virtual and now have some brick and mortar offices. And then there are brick and mortar law firms that are expanding on a virtual or remote platform basis. So the way it works is pretty much exactly what you do now. I mean, we went virtual years ago, and I remembered that if I had a contract to be drafted or whatever, my secretary was literally 20 feet away outside my door, and I would email it to her. And then she would email it back, and I would mark it up, and so on and so forth. That's pretty much the way that law firms work now. If you have a paralegal or a secretary or an associate who's in another office or on another floor, you might as well be virtual. There are about 60 virtual or combination or hybrid virtual brick and mortar firms in the country at this time. That number is going to surge after this is all over. We only work with 3 of them, however. Yeah. Okay. So here's how we figure it out. The first thing is they have to have a high-end practice that is a true alternative to big law. So you would not leave Skadden to go to a firm where they're doing, plaintiffs litigation for PI work or something like that. These are firms, the firms that we work with all do mergers and acquisitions, intellectual property, high-end real estate, that kind of thing. Yeah. They do have real back office and professional support. So they take care of billings, collections, etc. They have paralegals. They have all the docketing and everything that you need, just like what you have now. The other thing that we look for is real cross-selling and collaboration, because one of the first virtual firms that we looked at was, and probably is still the biggest, but they were really nothing more than just a collection of silos on the same website. I mean, there may have been a few pockets here and there, people who came over together, but for the most part, there wasn't any real cross-selling and collaboration. And same with support. They didn't have full-time tech support. They didn't have other people who would do your billings and collections and that kind of thing for you. So we looked for firms that could demonstrate they did that. The first firm we talked to uses data analytics to measure cross-selling as a percentage of gross revenues. And when we first started working with them, they were at 34.7% of every dollar that came in the door came from one partner introducing another partner to a client. Yeah. Trust me, I know. I was the CMO of a law firm, and getting people to share their clients was like pulling teeth. I thought you had to be an only child to get a law degree. If we had posted 20%, I would have known we were cooking the books, because nobody shared their clients. And the reason for that actually was understandable, because if I did do cross-selling at the law firm that I used to be at, what would happen is like 9 months later, a bunch of guys in a room in another office would just pull some magic number out of their hat and call that my origination credit. So there really wasn't a lot of incentive. Whereas at these firms, let's say you bring in a client who generates $500,000 in legal fees. Depending on the client, you're going to get somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000 for the work that other people are doing as those checks come in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a huge incentive. One of the trust and estates attorneys brought in a IP litigation matter, and that was exactly the case. They worked on it for about 6 months, generated about an extra $500,000 in fees, and so she was getting paid almost $20,000 a month for their work. And guess who got a real taste in her mouth for cross-selling after that? Yep. Yeah, the one I'm talking about, we placed a woman there named Susan, and you'll probably talk to her. She's a litigator like you are. She actually received work within 1 week of starting with our client. And we had another one who actually both sent and received work within the first month or so. Now, I can't promise that because you need to do some internal marketing, and these people are very good about creating a sense of community. That's another thing that we look for. Again, we're not looking for something that's just a bunch of silos on the same website. They also have command authority over their practice. So if you want to charge flat fees or alternative fee arrangements, if you want to charge $300 an hour and take equity in a client that you think might be the next Facebook or whatever, you have the ability to do that. The way they look at it is, why would you put the pricing authority of a M&A attorney like yourself in the hands of a commercial litigator in another city? So it's entirely up to you within reason. I mean, they don't want you charging insurance defense rates, but it's pretty strong. Yeah, they're really looking more for a value-centric business model. So they have more of a business mindset as well. One of the things the old saying goes is the problem with law firms is that they're run by lawyers. You haven't? Yeah, I like that one. So at these firms, if you don't bill one single hour and you bring in $1 million and your client is really happy with the legal product, well, congratulations on your lifestyle. You'll just collect your 20 to 30% on the work that you passed out. If you do, say, 1,000 hours a year and you charge out at, say, $500 an hour, that's $500,000. Depending on the firm, you'll take home $350,000 to $400,000 for part-time work, which is not a bad gig, because these firms all pay anywhere from 70 to 80, in some cases even over 90% once you hit a certain collections level. Yep, they also have minimal bureaucracy. It's just a lot easier to get things done when you have command authority over your practice like that. And there are people who have gone to these firms, made $500 to $1 million a year, and taken a month-long vacation. Yeah, I had a partner tell me that if he took a month-long vacation, his parking space would be gone, his office would be taken over by someone else, and they would be looking in the obituaries. Yeah, this is really important for two reasons. One, COVID is going to teach a lot of lawyers that, hey, they can work from home. And more law firms are going to offer virtual or remote platforms and start lowering the cost, not trying to figure out how they can extract the maximum number of billable hours out of a situation, but begin doing what other businesses do, which is rendering better value. The other thing is that with tech, there are programs out there that can generate high-end, like commercial retail lease contracts, employment agreements, etc. And also tech that can do automated doc review. They're going to wipe out millions of hours in doc review. I mean, this is already here now, and it's coming fast. So these huge behemoths that are not adapting to the market, that continue hiring armies of overpriced associates, are about to be in real trouble. And these new nimble market adapters are not only going to capture their clients, which they already are, and I'll take you to their page so you can see these are very impressive Fortune 500 clients that they're getting, but also they're going to capture talent like you. I mean, think about it. If you can work, 30 hours a week for a month because you feel like it, and then, turn and burn when you want, if you can take month-long vacations, if you can charge what you want, live the life you want, and all of them are at least 10 years old, and just they'll open the books. They're fiscally healthy, and they're doing everything the way that you're doing it now, and especially right now since you're working remotely.